He's Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. Also, you can see him every single night, 5:30 Eastern on NBCSN. He joins us now. We got more information here with Des Bryant, but still no videotape. And it just feels like it's a story that's floating out there, Mike. What else can you add with this?
Well, Dan, I just think it's a matter of time before we get the video. If that Walmart in Lancaster, Texas didn't have surveillance cameras in the parking lot, that would make it the only Walmart in the world that doesn't have surveillance cameras in the parking lot. What we know now is that NFL media has obtained an incident report from something that happened in July of 2011. And someone called police because the witness saw a woman being dragged from a Mercedes to another vehicle. The police arrived. The Walmart security guard was involved. Another car showed up with a couple of guys in it saying they were coming to pick up the Mercedes. The other car was an Escalade. That car registered to Des Bryant. The Mercedes registered to Des Bryant. The one gap in all of this, the car that the woman was dragged to. Because later, Des Bryant and the woman show up in a Bentley, and the woman says, I wasn't injured or assaulted in any way. I was having an argument with a guy named Alex Penson, and the police who responded just decided, okay, there's nothing to see here, let it go. But there is something to see because the surveillance video would fill in some of these gaps, like the car she was dragged to. She's dragged from a Mercedes. The Mercedes was still there. The car she was dragged to never mentioned in the police report. Was that the Bentley? Was it a different car? Who's doing the dragging? Is it this Alex Penson? Is it someone else? So that's where the video will fill in these gaps. And when the victim says, I wasn't assaulted in any way, but this all started because a witness saw something that was relayed to police as the woman being dragged across the pavement, that would suggest that maybe the story coming from the victim wasn't consistent, and I think it requires more investigation, which the video would possibly provide if it exists. But that's the next step in this, and it just feels inevitable, Dan, that video is going to come out.
But I remember you telling me we were in the viewing room at Football Night in America. What was that, September, where you just sort of brought it up and said, hey, I'm hearing about this. Might have been September, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, I heard about it to the point where I was willing to bring it up in the room in November. And we just kind of talked it through. It was a Cowboys game that night. Hey, there's this rumor out there of a video involving, Des Bryant, and people are chasing it, and that's one of the reasons why the Cowboys are reluctant to give him big money, and everything I heard at the time. The concept that it was in a Walmart parking lot, that there was someone dragged by the hair across pavement, I mean, that's all been consistent. The one thing that hasn't been established is who did the dragging. And I think only the video is going to shed light on that. And there's a chance that the video may be just, a click above Zapruder film quality, and it's going to be hard to be definitive about anything. But until we see the video, I think it's impossible to know with any certainty what did or didn't happen.
Is the NFL forced to investigate? If there are no charges filed, does the NFL, the new NFL, investigate this?
Well, I think it all depends on whether or not the video comes out and what it shows. Because I think if there's compelling video, it doesn't matter that he wasn't charged. It doesn't matter that it happened in 2011. It doesn't matter that the victim said, I wasn't assaulted in any way. If there is compelling video that provokes the same kind of public reaction that we got from the Ray Rice elevator video, and again, I haven't seen the video, so I don't know what it shows. But if it's a video that people look at and say, "Oh man, that's bad," and "Oh man, that's Des Bryant," then I think the NFL is going to be compelled to do something.
Okay, if this happened in July of 2011, I don't know who has got the authority to release this. If it's Walmart, it's Walmart's cameras here. Who's getting that videotape, and do they even have, the wherewithal, the authority to go out and sell this thing?
Well, my understanding is that if a tape exists, the Dallas County District Attorney has it. And actually, when this all first kind of hit the radar screen last week, because I just blurted it out during a radio spot in Dallas, I made a Public Information Act request of the Dallas County DA for the incident report and for the video, if there is one. I haven't gotten a response yet. The NFL actually got the incident report 3 days before this ever became something people were talking about. So folks have been chasing this.
Yeah.
Dallas County DA may have the video if a video exists. Walmart would have the video. I mean, I've been told that there are at a minimum 2 copies. Walmart at its corporate offices in Arkansas and the Dallas County DA. And someone last night was insisting to me that there's someone else who has it. And that if there's someone beyond those 2 entities that has it, then in theory that's someone who could sell it to TMZ or whoever wants to pony up the cash for it.
Talking to Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. A couple other items here. Adrian Peterson's future. Does he want to play in Minnesota, and is it up to him if he wants to play there?
Well, I mean, first he's got to be reinstated. He could be reinstated by a federal judge any day now. He could be reinstated by the NFL on April 15. One thing that's been very clear over the past few weeks, the Vikings do want him back. And the factor that's been the most overlooked in this, Dan, is money. And it very well could be that the Vikings will pay him more money than any other team. And he may have come out of this, an incident that was his own doing, at a time when this would be the point in his career where the Vikings may otherwise squeeze him to take less money. He may come out of this with 100 cents on the dollar from the Vikings, $12.75 million this year, and no one else may be able to pay him that much or willing to pay him that much. And that when it's time to talk money, that's when we're going to know what Adrian Peterson really wants. And I think the dollars ultimately are going to be sufficiently different between what the Vikings will pay and what someone else will pay to get Adrian Peterson to want to stay in Minnesota.
The Peyton Manning returning to Denver, not as fluid as I think we thought, but reconstruction of his contract. What does that mean?
Well, we don't know at this point what it means. Are they just pushing money around from a cap standpoint, reducing his cap charge this year, pushing some cap money into next year when presumably he wouldn't be there and they would just take a cap hit that they could manage? I mean, if you drop his cap number this year, he's only got 2 years left under contract. So anything you do to drop his cap number this year, you're going to increase it next year. And it's already $21 million this year, $21 million next year. So you're going to rob Peter to pay Paul if you're just shifting money around. The other question is, does restructuring mean he's taking less money? He's never taken less money in his entire career, and I got no problem with that. It would be against his character and nature and business attitude to take less money, and I applaud him for it. If an owner was in that situation, they'd say, I'm not taking less money either. But that's the real question here. Are they just moving money around, or is he getting paid less money?
Yeah, but he wants to win another championship here. That's the only reason why he's playing.
Well, okay, then he's all of a sudden changed his attitude toward getting paid every last dollar that a team will give him. Because, I mean, his approach his entire career has been get every dollar I can, which is fine. If he's changed that, then so be it. But we'll see when the final contract is done, if a final contract is done, whether he's taking less money or whether they're playing accounting games to create some cap space this year.
Oh, one final thing. We know that Los Angeles is going to get at least one team, maybe two, but do you have 3 candidates for 2 positions, and is the race on for that? Handicap this for me.
Well, Dan, the race is on for the stadium site, and apparently the NFL likes the idea that Inglewood and Carson are in a chase now for the finish line. And who can get this thing put in place, who can get this done, that's going to be the winner, and that city gets the stadium. Then the question becomes who's going to play in it. Carson, Chargers, Raiders. Inglewood, it would be the Rams and I think one of the other 2 teams. I think it would ultimately be Rams, Chargers in Inglewood, Chargers, Raiders in Carson. So depending upon where the stadium is, you're going to have an odd man out. And it's either going to be the Rams staying in St. Louis or the Raiders possibly moving to St. Louis. That's a possibility that someone in St. Louis floated not that long ago, that the Rams would move to L.A. and then the Raiders would end up in a new stadium in St. Louis.
Unbelievable. But
it's been 20 years.
I know.
And it's been talk, and nothing happening. And now all of a sudden, it's the gumball rally to build a stadium in L.A.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, see you, buddy.
Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, and you can watch his show Monday through Friday at 5:30 Eastern on NBCSN.